Hey BookTube, I'm here with my last Shktb video for September, where this week has been all about Hamlet. And I recommend you go over and watch at either Jason over at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, Lukash Totally Pretentious, or Rainy at Rainy Day Reads, where they've issued together a triumvirate of their book chat, their Zoom book chat on Hamlet, where they make some really interesting points on just sort of the kind of the actorly staging of this play from a director's point of view, and just the from an actor's point of view, especially with Gertrude, Hamlet's mother, and just what seems to me sort of this crazy thing where an actor has to, at each point in this play, each line, almost each word, has to kind of engage in this decision tree of, like, do I go this way, do I go that way, do I go this way, and each branch going off, and different paths that you could take through this play. And there's so many paths that you can take through this play for each individual character, for each director. It boggles the mind. And I know that's not something that's unique just to Shakespeare, but maybe it's just because there's been so much focus on Shakespeare, especially this month, me focusing on it this month. I'm actually aware of that. A very non-actorly person am aware of just how complex and rich all of that is in Shakespeare's work in particular here. For me this week, I've been finding Hamlet a slog. And it's not a slog because it's a boring work, or I mean, it is a difficult work, but it's an engaging work. I think what has made it a slog for me, when it comes down to it, is that it is a young man dealing with the death of his father. And that touches me on a personal note of being a young man who lost my father at an imagined age I could imagine Hamlet being. I was like 17, and I think Hamlet gets played at all sorts of different ages, but he, to me, seems like he's at that kind of young student, like about to, student age, of, like, about to go off to college. You get that sense of that might be a path that the young Prince Hamlet might have taken, is going off for a wider education. And for Hamlet, it coming at a time when his father, Hamlet Senior, and I mean, this duplication of names really comes into fore here, is something where you really feel that he worships his father in a lot of ways. Like, he was the great man. He doesn't seem like maybe he's gotten to that point in his life where he started to see the flaws in his father, and he's maybe more differentiated himself. He never got to that, the rebellious stage where you think everything that your father did, you go from worshiping your father to thinking everything your father did was wrong. He hasn't gotten that chance yet. He's deeply disillusioned. He feels like, I mean, rightly so in this case, that his father has been betrayed most foully, and that who's replaced him in his mother's bed is someone who is very much a lesser copy. And it's interesting that I think Hamlet himself thinks he is a lesser copy of that of that of that man. So that is one of the things that I think I saw in this play this time around, more so than I probably saw it when I was when I read it the first time, which was in high school before my own father had died, but when I was already in the you know I hate everything kind of stage of my life, as a disaffected teen. Um, I think another thing that kind of struck me in this point in this reading of the play was the idea of Hamlet using a play to the players come to town, come to the castle Elsinore, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put on get the players to put on this play, and I'm gonna insert these lines in the play, and I'm going to use that to surprise perhaps some kind of confession, some kind of proof uh, out of um, Claudius, his father's brother." Um, let's see, I always get uncertain about names. Surprise from Claudius, a confession. This is going to surprise something out of him. That's what he says. Like, I've known works to do that. That people kind of stand up, have watched plays, and through some kind of miracle, it surprises stuff out of them. And I thought about that this time as just like a thought of like, oh, as an idea of nature. I mean, also in this thing, it talks about holding a mirror up, art holding a mirror up to you and showing you yourself. And this is Hamlet doing that literally. And I mean, there's that idea that he is going to using art to surprise out, to reveal something about the audience, and a very specific audience in this case. Um, and That just sort of struck me because I think about, you know, why do I read? Why do I uh, what fascinates me about all these made-up stories, whether they're on the stage or in novels and stuff like that. What is it about it that attracts me to it? And I think it is that idea of one part of myself wants to watch the other part of myself and see what surprises come out of myself. What do I surprise out of myself? What realizations do I get? Uh, what guilty secrets are revealed through my readings. What inner parts of myself um, do I get? And I mean, Hamlet is a real inward looking guy, and he in some ways is looking to art to try and reveal truths that he can't quite trust in himself. This ghost of his father has come, but he doesn't know if it's an evil ghost. He doesn't know if it's just some part of himself that is just getting reflected back at him, and he's amplifying it. Like, maybe this guy didn't kill my father. It's just something I want to believe, and it's like it seems so apt because I want to believe that. Um, and so I'm going to use art to kind of look at things from a different angle to surprise myself. Yeah, yeah. So that's a teeny little bit of what came up this time reading Hamlet. And I just read it. I didn't watch a production this time. I read the words uh, to make my own choices, which um, is valuable in a way because making my own choices about what the character's motivation is versus watching it on stage and letting the actors make those choices for me. While it's still rewarding and still can be revelatory because I think some of the great actors are the great readers, obviously, of Shakespeare. But it's interesting to see what choices I made, what decisions I made, what motivations I thought were there. So yeah, yeah, it was a it was a tougher read this time, but maybe a couple of things to